Hello and welcome back to my channel. One of the questions that I've been asked frequently is why I changed the wheels. I suppose basically the long and short of that is they won't fit on my track. It's not because I don't like the wheels that come in the models, etc, etc. It's just the fact that I'm using a different gauge. So where the wheels come in at 16.5, my gauge is 18.83, so that's why I need to change the wheels, and it's solely for that reason. There's Charlie over at Chadwick a couple of videos ago actually was explaining the difference between the gauges and what it meant, so it's quite a comprehensive video there, so if you want to check that out, I think it's not the last video he did, it's the one before that, and he explains it quite well. Unfortunately I haven't got any 00 track or EM track to actually show you the differences, but what I have got is some wheels. So going through some of my old bits and pieces, I don't know how well it's going to come out, but this wheel here is one of the old original Lima ones, so I suppose it's perhaps a little bit unfair, but it does sort of highlight it, and you can see like the flange way on there. See if I can get something to actually highlight that a bit more. Probably can't. So yeah, there's quite a lot of flange on there. So that is 16.5, which is 00, and that is the back-to-back spacing between the two backs of the wheels. The next one up is EM. So this is fundamentally the same wheel, but it's the EM version. So I'll put the two together. You can see, hopefully, don't know how well it really shows it, but they're slightly wider apart, slightly further apart. So this one is 16.5 back to back, this one's 18.2 back to back. Then if I get a P4 wheel, which again this is the same wheel, you can see that is slightly bigger again. Not by much, because this one's 18.2, this one's 18.83, but and then you put the 16.5 in, you can see the spacing differences, and so these are the wheels that would be in my locos when they arrive, or everyone's locos when they arrive, and then I need to change them for these. I have got a bit of track. So here's my bit of P4 test track. So if I put my 16.5 wheel on, you can see that there's quite a lot of difference. That will just fall in the forefoot. See that? So that's why I've changed the wheels. Then you've got the EM, which is a little bit closer, sort of fits on, but it kind of slides around on there. And then the P4 is straight on, and that's how it should be. So yeah, that's sort of best way I can explain it. But as I said, Charlie over at Chadwick has done a similar sort of thing. So this leads me on nicely now to my next project. So what I have here is a Oxford Rail Warwell, a really nice wagon. These ones are the earlier ones, because these ones are, or this one is the Hatton's limited edition. But you know, very nice wagon indeed. Fair bit of weight to them because they're a car chassis, and I mean, I don't know vast amounts about these wagons, but looking at some pictures and bits and pieces, they look really good. One of the things I did say to Hattons at the time was there was no like running numbers or anything on them, and I sort of said, well, that's a bit strange. But I think I've found a picture of this wagon on Paul Bartlett's site, and sure enough, there isn't any numbers on it. Because what Hattons had said was sometimes when they load them, the actual, whatever they've loaded on is actually takes the numbers of the wagon. I'm not disputing that for 1 second, but I think that personally I'd rather see some running numbers on it. So what I've done is I've ordered some from Railtech, and before I finished I'll fit them, just for my own peace of mind really. I'm not saying that it's not correct, I'm just saying that I prefer to see the running numbers on there. But after I fitted them I might wish I hadn't, but that's another story. So, right, the plan was to convert this to P4, but unfortunately, as you can see, that there isn't a lot of space to get a set of P4 wheels in there at all. So one of the other questions I was asked was, when I do a conversion, can I actually do it in sort of real time as opposed to speeding it up? I speeded it up because I didn't want people to get bored. But if that's been requested, so that's what we're going to do. So I thought this would be a nice project to actually do, because it involves a little bit of cutting and shutting and what have we, in order to get the spacings further. So the first job to do is to take the bogie off. I'm going to put the screw back in there so as I don't lose it. That's safely back in there. Put that to one side. Right, so the next thing is obviously take the wheels out. Don't want them. Next thing I'd like to do is cut this off. So I don't want that either. Right, so if I was to just try and jam a set of P4 wheels in here now, we'd end up with something like that, which is not good. They don't really turn, they're twisted, and as you can see, they're all out of shape. So that's no good. So what I need to do is to cut the side frames off and actually extend them. So that's the project. When you're doing that, you need to keep that as straight as possible, because these have got to go back on. So the straighter they are, the better that is. What I then did was rough it up, just to give a key when I come to glue it back together. I then got some styrene strip. One of them is 0.75 and the other one is 0.5. And I stuck the two of them together and that gave me the thickness I needed. So there's one that I've already done. You probably won't be able to pick that up with the camera. So the next job was just to cut these. So I have my little block like that. You just need to sort of centralise that in the middle, like so. Do the other one. Okay, right. Glue up the second one. Like so. Then this has got to go back on. With the coupling was facing forward. So the coupling was facing forward and the handbrake wants to be to the back of it. So the handbrake needs to be there. Effectively it goes like that. Goes that way round. Like so. So more glue. And that just goes like that, all but on the top. Just hold that enough time to give that time to tack. Check it for squareness. And same on the other side. So again, the brake wheel goes backwards. And just repeat. One thing you must also do is let this glue go right off. So basically looking at about 12 hours for this to harden right up. I made that mistake where I thought after an hour it'd be alright, but it wasn't. So you do need to give it plenty of time to cure. But once it's cured, it does tend to hold it. Right, so the other thing I was checking was to make sure that it's kind of sort of square. And that there was no twist on them. Okay, so basically the same to the other side, and then give them plenty of time to harden off or for the glue to cure. Right, we'll come back to them in a little while. Okay, so here we are, 24 hours later, although on video it's not. So these have hardened up, hopefully. I'm going to try inserting the wheels. Okay, so there you go. I've just put the 4 flashes on, one on each end, on both sides. Also, going back to the numbers, I've got 3 photographs of these wagons, and 2 of the 3 have only got PFB on. There is no running numbers underneath, so you could quite prototypically just leave it like this. And that's sort of how they did run. But I've got my other one, which is the numbered one, so that's the one I've chose to do. Now, if I do any more, I think I'd probably just leave them like this, because the individual numbers does take a little while to do. Going back to my other one, I've now loaded my JCB onto there, and what I've done is I've glued the 4 tyres down plus the bucket on the back. So hopefully that will sit there without incident. So the next thing I need to do now is chock it off, and then once I've done that, I'm going to tie it down. Now I've got no idea how they would have secured it, but my guess would be probably straps. A lot of the MOD stuff I've looked at pictures of, they got like chains that sort of go sort of from somewhere there across and the same from there across to here, but I don't think you could secure the JCB in that manner because there's too much stuff in the way, I'm guessing. So I think probably the best way to do it is to actually just put straps over the tyres and hold it down that way. I think you'd also have a strap over that bucket as well, or a chain, just in case that bucket tried to lift. Sometimes they do, and if that was to happen, hit a bridge or something, that could cause all sorts of problems. So again, I've not seen photographs of the way that they would have been securely fixed down, but I'm guessing you'd have had a fixing across there, across the tyres, and probably something also just to make sure that that front bucket didn't come up, and that should do. Also, you'd have had like chocks to make sure that the thing didn't roll. So that's the next project, so I shall get on and do that. I've also put my my ends on. I've got the air pipe, got the vac pipe. I don't know if that's actually going to focus. And I've got my coupling. I've actually used 3-link chain or in Stanton chain. I think on the prototype it would be screw links, but I've chosen not to because sometimes on the bends the screw links can create all sorts of problems. Plus I'm running out of them and I'm trying to keep them for my locos. So a little bit of modeller's license there, just to sort of sort that problem out. Other than that, I'm quite pleased with this, quite pleased with the weathering on the actual thing itself. That's done with just like washes and whatever. I didn't actually film me doing that because I didn't know it was going to come out, but I don't think the camera probably can't pick it up. But yeah, it is really nice. Also, I'm guessing that the military wouldn't have been too dirty because I've seen stuff come back and it's all pretty much kept clean. You'd have the in-ground dirt like what that is, but it wouldn't be filthy, I'm guessing. So that's why I've sort of done it sort of more of a wash, just to sort of take the sort of the paint away, if you like, and just sort of leave that. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. What I've used for chocks is a trusty coffee stirrer. I've just cut it down and then just cut it up into sort of lengths that are usable. Don't have to be anything too precise. Then I've got my little wash that I've made myself, which I throw them into, give them a bit of a shake. Just to sort of, basically all I really want to do is just sort of tone them down, make them look like they've sort of been used. Might need to leave them in there a bit longer. Right, so what I'm doing here now is I've got Scale Model Scenery's straps. I think it does them in blue and orange, and I'm applying them to that sort of effect. I'm sure, as I said earlier, I'm not really an expert in how they would have tied it down, but I'm guessing something like that would have been close to what you'd have seen. I think if they'd have used chains, probably wouldn't have been very effective on the rubber, so I've gone with straps. I have used a chain to chain the bucket down at the back. I don't know if you can see that. So what I thought I'd do is, these straps are quite fiddly, but I'll do one of them with you. So in the eyes on the wagon, I'll basically a little dab of super glue on the end of my strap. And then just land that by the eye on the wagon. And just let that go off a bit. Of course, this would be the one that plays up. Just need to give that long enough to go off, so I can pull it around a little bit. A few seconds, and it's gone off. What I've also been doing is another little dab just where they cross. Like that, just to help hold them together. And then that I've allowed just come round, because you may see it, and just go onto that floor somewhere in there. Okay, so that is the finished wagon with all the straps on, etc, etc. As I said, I'm not 100% sure whether that arrangement would have been right, but I'm guessing it would have been something close to that. Especially the MOD, they are ultra. Even back then, they would have been really sort of tight on the fact that these things have to be strapped down. Obviously, I didn't want them falling off. So, but I'm guessing that would have been, that's close enough for me anyway. So that's the wagon, and yep, been a lot of work, but I think it's well worth it. So that's that one. The other one is that, and that's got this thing going on it. I don't quite know what that is. I think it's some sort of scout vehicle. So that's going on there, and I've been that impressed with the wagon that I've ordered another one, and that's going to be, I've got like a generator van to go on that, so that'll be my 3 MOD wagons, and I might even possibly get a 4th and do another JCB, but don't know, we'll see how it goes. But certainly, as I say, I've ordered another one, so yeah, nice wagons.